Hey folks, it's Viejo here. The video you're about to see here is one that I'm reposting from my previous channel that had been deleted. So if you've seen this video, feel free to bypass it and move along to something else. Won't hurt my feelings at all. But I have had some requests to repost some of the videos from that other channel that are not likely to get channel strikes against them. So we're going to do that. And at the beginning of each of those videos, you'll see this very same prologue, so you'll know. All right, happy shooting, casting, and reloading to everybody. Catch you later. Hey guys, it's Viejo here. It is January 10th, 2022. Nice day here on the Central Coast of California. And in this video is the kickoff to a short series that I'm going to do on 4440. And we'll take a look at this rifle here. Okay, let's first be sure that it's clear. Okay, there's nothing in here. So that's clear and safe. This is a Uberti replica of the original Henry in 4440. This is a beautiful rifle, well made, well constructed. I've had it for quite a while. When we use the term original Henry and 4440, those two really can't go together in the same sentence properly, because the original Henry, 1860, was not chambered in 4440. It was chambered in the 44 Henry, also known as the 44 rimfire. It wasn't until 10 or 12 years later that the 44 cartridge was actually even developed. But this series is not going to be specifically about this rifle. In fact, I'm going to feature another firearm in this series that I'll show you here in a moment, one that's brand new to me. And we'll be talking more about the caliber. We're going to do some casting, we're going to do some reloading, we're going to do some load development, some powder coating, obviously, if we're going to cast. So that's what the series is about. Let me show you this other firearm. This is the firearm that we'll be featuring in this series. This is the Cimarron Model 1875 Outlaw, they call it. It's their replica of the 1875 Remington. Nice color case hardened frame, 7.5-inch barrel, single action revolver. Turn this over so you can see the other side. Don't know if you'll be able to see the chamber marking. There it is. 44 WCF, which originally stood for 44 Winchester Central Fire, then became known as Winchester Center Fire, and then ultimately 44-40. Beautiful revolver, well made. We'll spend some time in a subsequent segment of the series and talk more about the revolver itself, do some metrics on it, and so forth. Let's take a look at the ammunition and the cartridge. Here's our case. The one in the middle is the 4440, flanked on the left by a 45 Colt and on the right by a 44 mag. For size reference, if you look closely, you'll see that the 4440 case in the middle there has a slight bottleneck to it. That one is previously fired, so it's fire formed to my rifle, and that makes the neck look a little bit more pronounced. If you get new Starline brass, that bottleneck is not quite so apparent. One thing about the case itself, besides the size reference there, is that it is notoriously thin. The top of the neck of the case there only measures about 7 thousandths compared to closer to 12 thousandths for the other two on either side. So it's very thin material. You have to be careful with it. It tends to dent up easily when it hits the ground, and if anybody steps on it, okay, there's going to be a dent in the case mouth almost assuredly. Here are a couple of cartridges. The one on the left and the right are dummy cartridges for my reloads. The one in the center is a factory cartridge from Winchester. Now the early 44-40 groove diameter of the firearms was somewhere around 0.427, but now Sammy specs it out at 0.4285, and most of the firearms that are manufactured more recently are going to be about 0.429, you know, plus or minus a half thousandth or so. And that's a good thing. That's the same diameter as our 44 cartridges. And that means that we can use a lot of our 44 projectiles with this particular caliber. In its original form, the cartridge was a black powder cartridge, as the name suggests, right? 44-40, 44 caliber with 40 grains of black powder. It's my understanding that over the years the cartridge has been changed slightly, and the guys who shoot black powder now say that they can only get about 36 grains. But the standard loading with the old 40 grains of black powder was with a 200 grain bullet, and it would shove it out the end of a rifle barrel at somewhere between 12 and 1300 feet per second. The cartridge came into existence about 1873 and was popularized by the Winchester Model 1873 rifle, the famous rifle that won the West. It fell out of favor in the early 1900s, but thanks to the cowboy action movement, the cartridge gained some popularity again and is a little more readily available now. Although factory ammo is expensive, this box of Winchester, now I just looked it up, is at about $65 for a box of 50. That's their cowboy action cartridge, and it can go all the way up to $125 or so for a box of 50. So somewhere between $1.25 and $2.50 per cartridge. It's a little pricey, so if a guy gets into 44-40, you want a hand load, I think. Shortly after the introduction of the Winchester Model 1873 rifle, in 1875, Remington came out with their Model 1875 revolver based on the Model 1858 and was designed to compete with the Peacemaker. And that firearm was chambered, it actually had 3 chamberings. The 44 Remington, 44-40, or back in those days, the 44 WCF, and also in 45 Colt. So the caliber and cartridge and firearms themselves are really richly steeped in our American history, and I think it's a caliber that deserves our attention, and maybe some of you out there are 44-40 shooters. If so, let me know down here in the comments. I'm really interested in getting this brand new, and I've been looking for a revolver in 44-40 for some time, and as you know, right now we're kind of scarce on firearms. But this one came up and I was able to get a hold of it. It is brand new. I didn't have to buy it used, and it was one that I had been looking for as one of my choices for a 44 revolver. I really like it. All right, folks, for this introductory piece, that's going to do it for today. It's my hope that some of you have some interest in this caliber. It's a fun one to hand load for and to shoot. We still have some options available for us as far as firearms, even though it's not a wildly popular caliber to this day outside the cowboy action shooters world. And upcoming videos, we're going to talk more about this particular firearm, the revolver here. We're going to do some casting. I've got a couple different molds, actually got several that can be used. We're going to do some powder coating. We're going to do some hand loading, and I'll share with you some of my range results from my particular hand loads. It's my hope that you'll come back and visit us on the upcoming videos in the series. It's going to take several weeks to get through it. I'm not going to do it all at once. But for now, that's all she wrote.